Hello everyone, welcome to the Sweet Source Canada YouTube channel. My name is Tristan and today we're going to be changing our S70's door panels out for these nice stitch ones out of a T5 SC with this nice burl trim around the window switches. Off camera I went and repaired these, made sure that they're all sticking properly with adhesive, so they're all ready to go into the car. And we're probably going to also be changing out the front doors. Because they got some rust on them, so we're going to be installing some rust-free doors. So let's get to it. So as you can see here, we've got pretty much the regular door panels. You can see there's some damage. They're peeling a bit and they're locking the wood. This car does have a nice wooden interior, so we're going to make sure we have it matching with the trims here. It's going to be really nice, and plus those stitched panels are going to look a lot better. And Volvo used vinyl on the regular panels, but we're going to have these leather stitched panels going into the car. And the rust we're developing is like this, and it's the same on both sides. So those doors are going to be changed out. It's going to be a lot nicer as well, and the car will truly be rust free. So let's get to work on this. So before we begin, it's going to be really important to make sure that both doors can open fully, and I've already checked that both of them open fully. There's lots of room to work. And make sure that of course you turn off your interior lights, not the drain out your battery. So that's going to be the most important thing to start with. So let's begin removing the actual door panel itself. This is not a complicated affair. So the first thing you want to do is pop out this trim, and it's already kind of loose. So let's go ahead and take this trim out. That comes out rather easily. Next thing you want to do is there's a plastic cover right here, and you want to go ahead and pop this out. Just try to pop it out, and you can see it kind of hinges upwards, and you're able to access that screw. Once that's done, grab yourself an extension, which I dropped of course right here, with your T25 bit on it. Just like that, it's loose. Just start undoing it all the way. Just like that. Once that's done, you can start popping the clips out all around the door panel. Now this one here is kind of broken, as you can see, and I'll show you what commonly goes bad on these. And also before we start doing that, actually we should probably take this trim out here. Just pops right out like this. So now you should be able to just pop this off. As you can see, it's pretty loose. There's going to be some wiring connections on the back, but that just comes right out very easily. Normally what you'd want to do is there's going to be these clips I'm going to show you shortly. There's going to be these clips that you're going to have to undo. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo all the wiring harnesses here. So there's a few of them. There's one for the mirror control. There's two for the window switch, or three I believe. Yeah, there's three for the window switch. We're going to do those. And just like that, the door panel's out. And I'll just show you guys this first too. This window switch is aftermarket. It kind of just fell apart in my hands. I had it in as a spare, and it worked while it lasted, but it's an aftermarket used switch. I just put in there here temporarily. And normally what breaks here are these clips here that hold in the door panel. They kind of break usually, and what happens is they actually usually even break right off the door panel itself. So yeah, this door panel is pretty beat up. If you're going to be installing your door panel back at this point, you want to just go around, check all the clip holes here, and you can see here we actually have a clip stuck in the door. So in theory you would just pop this clip out just like that, and that's hidden. I'll get that later. Yeah, so once that would be out, theoretically from there you just pop on your door panel and you'd be done with it. But we're actually going to change out the door at this point as well. So let's begin that. So you can either take your mirror out now, or you can do it when the door's off the car. It doesn't really matter. We're also going to be saving this sticker here for the VIN, because we want to keep the VIN original to this car, so we're going to re-glue that to the new door. It's kind of like a tutorial for the mirror too, so it's pretty easy. So what you do here is you just undo the wiring connector, just like that. That cover can go back in. That. And then you want to undo the three T25 screws holding the door mirror, side mirror in. So you can remove the door panel. You can also not remove the door panel. Sometimes I would just unclip a little bit, take out the wiring connector, and then you're able to access all the screws and remove the door panel. One of these screws, I believe this one here, is a little bit tricky to access with the panel in, but you could kind of bend the material down a little bit and just put your tool there, and you'll be able to do it without damaging anything. Once all the screws are out, the door mirror just won't fall out. It'll kind of still be in place. It's got a rubber grommet here. You want to just kind of hold the door mirror and push the grommet out like this along with the mirror, and the whole wiring will follow. Just like so, and the mirror has been removed. Alright, so the first thing we'll do here is just to loosen the hardware that holds on the actual door. So 1, 2, and then there's 3, 4 over here. So let's start removing those 12mm screws. So let's just start loosening them, not taking them out completely, just start slowly loosening them. And then there's one more over here. There we go. So those are loosened, which is good. And then we have right here this little T15 or T10, I believe, and that's for the actual harness itself. So let's go ahead and try out a T10 first. And it is a T10, so let's go ahead and remove that. That bolt should not be on there too tight. It's tight enough where I'm going to need my ratchet. And this bolt just kind of is like a set screw. It's kind of like a set screw that holds in the actual harness for the door. So it just makes it easier to disconnect. And that's out. Don't lose this little guy. He's very important. Undo this boot and you can actually just get the hinge out with this Torx over here. So let me see what size that is. Looks quite large. I'm going to see if it's a T40. It is indeed a T40. So let's see if we could take it out with my tool here. I'm afraid it'll be a bit too tight, but let's give it a shot. Oh, that's on there. All right, so back with a larger socket on my 3/8, and let's see if it'll come out now. Should, yeah, there we go. Careful not to strip it, and that's going to make your door open wider, so just beware of that. Let's go ahead and remove the rest of this screw. This kind of limits your range of motion with the door, so it will kind of try to swing. I have my car parked there, and the side mirror is kind of holding the door in place, which is good. So that should come right out like this. So at this point we can actually just remove the entire door as well. So let's go ahead and remove the rest of these screws. I'm gonna get a little jack to hold the door up so it doesn't just fall. All right, so I've got the door held up with a jack and a piece of wood, so that is just supporting everything. And now we're gonna remove the entire door. So these are the 12mm bolts holding it in. It's 1, 2, 3. And then the last one's gonna come out now. This is kind of not the most ideal thing. You're gonna wanna make sure the door stays put, and you can see it's already starting to fall. We're gonna also undo that harness. So the door harness is the last thing to come out of this car. So this is pretty simple. I've been struggling with it for a while, and I remembered you just kind of twist it like this. And it should just come right out. There we go, just like that. Simple as that. Once you remove the set screw, it just kind of undoes and loosens. So that door is ready to come out. Okay, so this door is ready to come out. Carefully remove it from the vehicle, just like that. So the jack kind of helped us out a lot here. So I'm going to be keeping it in place here to help us install the new door. It's going to kind of help it hold it in the right position. Start threading in some of those bolts. Once they're in, the door is pretty easy to install. So we're gonna do that next. Mad Max S70. Look at this. So cool with the doors off. All right, so now it's time. Now it is time to remove this right here, the door lock cylinder. Now on the new doors I received, I'm missing the key. So this is the original key to the car, and I'm missing the key for the new doors I got. So the guy I bought the doors from is gonna bring me the key for those doors, so I'll eventually be able to swap this back in, maybe on or off camera, I'm not sure, but I'm going to show you guys how to take this out. And this just avoids us messing around with the whole door handle mechanism. Just pop this out and put it into the new door. Once you pop out the cylinder out of the old door, and out of the new door, you swap this one in. So it's pretty simple. So let me just show you guys how to do this. It's a little bit touchy, but we're gonna walk through this together right now. So the first thing you want to do, I like to do, gives you, as I hit my barbecue, gives you a little bit more room to pop this out. So let's start with doing this. It gives you a bit more working room. You don't have to damage this cover. So the cover comes out very easily, as you can see. One clip holds it right here, and then you got two little sliding pins right here, right over here, and that allows you to pop that out. So the next thing you want to do is pop this cover out. It's kind of broken, so it comes out very easily. Luckily we have some new ones we can put in. Now these two T30 Torx, you want to slacken them almost all the way up, but not all the way up. So let's go ahead and do that. These are not the longest screws in the world, so when you slacken them, just be aware of that. And I think that's gonna do just fine like this. They're almost all the way out. There's probably a few more threads left, so that's good. Take a thin screwdriver now. So right over here there's a pin, and it's like a spring-loaded pin. You want to kind of push towards the front of the car, just like that. You can see the actual cylinder popped out a little bit, and then with the key, any direction, left or right, use the key to pull out the cylinder. So I didn't catch it on camera, but that's the gist of it. So it takes a lot of wiggling to get this out, and sometimes they actually get a bit corroded here, so sometimes you got to spray a bit of penetrant right around the edge of it and it'll pop out. So as you can see here, I got the whole thing out. You can see how it kind of works, and it kind of pops right back in to here. You can see a little plastic piece that's like star shaped kind of, and this little pin goes right into that, right directly into the door lock. So simple as that. That's out. Probably one of the least fun parts of this job, but once this is out, your worst pains are over. So you could tighten these screws back up if you'd like. This door is going to be parted out, so pretty much going to take everything off the door and scrap the rest of the metal since it's all rusted. All right guys, next morning, and I got the original key to this lock, which is great. So that means that I could remove this and pop in our original lock to the car, so all the keys match. So let's start doing that. Hopefully here I can catch it on camera, me actually removing it, because the other day, yesterday, it didn't catch me it actually coming out. I had to yank on that thing for a while. So hopefully this one comes out a little easier. I'm gonna attempt to use some sort of penetrant. So let's take this out. You can use it. I'm using Crown here. You can use a penetrant. So I'm gonna try that out. Should help slide things along. Aha! There we go. And she's out, just like that. So let's go ahead and install our original one. Alright, so before we go and install it, I am going to tighten up the door screws here, the door handle screws. And I'm going to go ahead and install this. So first I'm going to clean up my mess. These are short screws, so nothing crazy. Door handle feels good. So that's on. So I don't know if you guys can see, but right down there, there is like a little star-shaped plastic piece inside of the actual door lock itself. And that's where you want to line up this pin. So let's orient it as best we can. Try to get that in. You might need to wiggle this around a little bit because it is on a ball joint, so it kind of moves a little bit. A little bit of wiggle, sometimes all you need to get it in. So just notice that the screw actually go right into the path of the cylinder, so I believe you do have to slacken these quite a bit for the cylinder to actually slide in. So let's try that out. Slacken them as much as possible, and now the path looks clear. So let's see if this will work right away. This should actually just slide in. So still has to go in a bit more. There we go, and that is in its place, and the key is working flawlessly. So now let's tighten up this door handle, get it to where we want it to get. A thing like that is perfect. Clean the area one more time because there is some grease leaking out of here. So I'm gonna get that all cleaned up. There we go. And that should do the trick. Our door handle feels good, not too stiff. Boom, looking good. Seal is nice, perfect. So that's all in place. Then we're gonna install this little trim piece here, and yes, I put a little bit of silicone because the clip actually broke. So that's gonna hold in just like that. And I'm gonna clean off the excess. And the silicone's gonna just help that keep that in place. I put a very small amount so that doesn't become impossible to remove. And consider that done. See here we have a good working door handle, and the locks work. The actual ignition, the actual barrel functions perfectly. All right, so new door is on. So off camera, I went and jacked it up. I got one bolt in for the hinge, so it just stay in place. So I'm gonna start putting in the rest of the bolts for the hinge. So I'm gonna go grab those. So I've got them all here. I have one in already, obviously. So I'm gonna apply thread lock to these. Just use blue, you don't need anything else. Shake up the container really well, and I got some on me too. So just go ahead and apply just a little bit. I actually put a little bit too much on that one. We do have a bolt holding it in, so that's okay, but we don't want to just 100% rely on that bolt. And once you get all those in, sorry, I'm kind of blocking the camera at this point. You want to kind of go with the witness marks of the door and try to tighten the bolts as such, and that will allow the door to be properly angled too. Alright, now I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a hard time putting this door back on. It's very heavy and awkward to kind of maneuver and to get into the right spot. And right now I tightened everything up. I gotta put the set screw in for the harness, but I'm just gonna show you something, because this will likely happen if you're doing this to your car. So you'll see here when I close the door, it's not exactly well lined up. There's a gap over here, so we gotta make sure we adjust this door. And I think it is sitting a bit too high. If I do look at the panel gap here, it looks like it's sitting a bit too high and it's not in enough. So let's go ahead and fix that. It's also not super easy to open. So let's go ahead and do that. So essentially what you're gonna do here is you're gonna just loosen up everything you already installed and just adjust the door and then tighten it. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna install the little set screw for the wiring harness. I already have that in place, so let me go ahead and install that to make sure this harness does not loosen. Just like that. No need to tighten it, just get it snug on there. No need to tighten it like crazy. So let's go ahead and start removing our hardware that we already installed. So that's just going to be simple, loosening everything, just as slacking it off, you know, nothing crazy, to move the door around. As you can see, it's already slackening a bit. And then we're going to go ahead and grab our T40 Torx and also slacken the hinge a little bit as well. The door stop, there you go. And now we can wiggle the door up and down, kind of get it in the position we want to. And as you can see, the door moves around freely. So this obviously is way too low. I'm gonna go get the jack and we're gonna jack it up to the right level. So you just wanna get the door in place enough where it looks about right. You can compare it to the passenger side too, to make sure everything's lined up. This here is looking, let me just get the seal back in place. This here is looking pretty good. Everything here seems to line up really well. The screws will also thread in really smoothly, you'll see, when you do get it lined up right. Make sure the door is unlocked, and that is already looking a lot better. Door is easy to open. Body lines almost match up perfectly. You might need to scoot the door a little bit more in, tilted this way. So let's try to do that now. Try to check your witness marks once again. This looks pretty good like so. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up. If I get the right socket, that would be fantastic. All right, let's remove the jack and see how it looks. Make sure it's unlocked. And that looks just about right to me. Kind of hard to tell it by video, but that looks just about right. I'm pretty happy with that. So off camera, I'm gonna go ahead and swap in any components that I'm missing. All right, now with the magic of editing, I got everything on the door. I could put the sticker on, I put this on, which just unscrews. I installed the speaker, which you just take a flathead and you turn these little rivets, and then there's one 225 Torx screw down here to undo, and I put all these little plastic covers back in place, this one included right here. So that's all back in place, so now it's a matter of putting the door panel on. So let's do that. Okay, so before we go ahead and get the door panel on, I am going to get on the mirror assembly on. So let's do that. So the easiest way to do this is thread the wire through with the grommet. That grommet is very important. So you could pop that grommet into place right now. There we go. Then you align the pins of the mirror into place. You could plug the harness in right now, just like so. And then you can go ahead and tighten the 3 T25s that hold this in. I like to hold the mirror in place where it goes. Kind of try to set the seal properly as well. There's a rubber seal around the mirror. And then just start threading these little screws in. Once you tighten one by hand, should hold the mirror in enough for you to put the other ones in. Once that's done, grab your ratchet. Just give these a good crank, nothing crazy. There we go, that's one. These are small screws, guys, so not very tight. There's 3 screws holding it in. That mirror is not going anywhere. Nice and solid, and the seal is properly installed as well. All right, and now it is time to get the door panel on, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and leave this little cover here undone, just so when I do the new lock cylinder, when I put back the original lock cylinder, I can have access there. So I'm going to leave that uncovered for now. This I have taped because the clips are actually broken on the light, so I went ahead and just put a little dab of silicone to hold it in. So I'm letting it dry, and this also needs to dry too, the original VIN sticker. So let's go ahead, everything is on, let's go ahead and pop on the door panel. Alright, so the first thing we should do is probably get all the actual switches in the door panel. This is not anything tricky. I removed them off camera. I have a graveyard of window switches here. I finally found one that works pretty well, so I'm going to run with it for now. So the window switch simply just clicks right in like this. Then you press it down. That should install nice and smoothly into the door card like this. And then we're going to install the mirror switch. I'll put this over here so everyone can see properly. So the mirror switch is right here. It's got two little metal clips. You got to depress to remove it. I did that off camera. So let's go ahead, install it. So feed the wiring through the hole. And you can see that's how it orients. The top is this small little button, and the bottom is the control knob. Just like that, it clips really satisfyingly in. The last thing to install is going to be this right here, and that's your fuel door and trunk release. So these go right on the bottom over here. And once again, two clips, one here, and that pops out. So let's go punch that in. You get that super satisfying snap once it's in. And that is nice and in place. So all the switches are in place, so now it's a matter of plugging everything in, and now you can slide this panel out. So the first things first, we already know all of the things are plugged in properly, so that's good. So let's go ahead and slip this on. Get the door lock rod in first, and then slide on window scraper, rim here. This might be a little tricky, but just like the 9000, once it's in, and you pop the whole thing in. Just like that. And now, all the clips are going to be tapped into place. So go ahead one by one, make sure they're aligned with the holes, because you don't want to break these holders. And just like that, our door panel is installed really nicely. Small T25 over here. This screws in the plastic, so don't tighten it too much. Just like that. Nice and solid, looking really good. This pops right into here. Just like that. That's looking splendid. This right here, so has hinges once again. So go ahead and line those up. Should just slide right in like that. And the corner trim right here to cover all the mirror. Not the easiest to get in sometimes. This foam does get in the way when you're trying to install this. And just like that, the first door and door panel are on. Now, this took me quite a while. Hopefully the other side will go well. I'm going to be doing that off camera, but this does look really good so far. Alright, so we're partway through putting this door in. I have it all adjusted. Everything's pretty much ready to go. When I was doing some testing, I realized this door doesn't unlock itself. So we're doing an impromptu door lock replacement as well on this car. So I already have everything out here. So I guess I'll show you guys how to do this. So grab yourself a T30, and you're gonna go ahead and undo the two bolts for the door lock. These should not be on super tight, so it should come out nice and easy. That's one falling on the floor. That's two. They're kind of these tapered screws, so they sit nice and flush. So yesterday I was pretty frustrated when everything was done. I didn't end up doing the door lock 100% right, so I'm gonna do it better this time around. I believe I forgot to hook something up to the handle in the back, so let's go ahead and fix that, because the door won't open from the outside, so that's not fun. That's obviously not a job well done, so we're revisiting this right now. So let's take off the two T30s once again that hold in this door lock. Next step, we're gonna undo this over here, the little pin. There we go. Just as undoes from the door lock. First, gonna pry up on this over here. Hold the cable, and it's gonna be a bit more wiggle room. Then twist the door lock towards the outside of the door, and that should come out. And we probably forgot to hook something up, which is probably why our handle isn't working from the outside. I thought I had tested it, but I guess I probably forgot. I also have to replace the window seal right here. I'll show you guys exactly why after, but it's kind of unfortunate, but I was able to save the window seal from the old door, which is nice too. So that was fun. All right, this is coming out. So I believe I can actually see where I forgot. So you see this portion here, there's actually a hole in the actual handle itself that this is supposed to slide into. So I believe that's exactly what I forgot to connect. So I'm gonna loosen the door handle screws themselves and see how I can get the access. I'll try to show you guys on video as well. So you see over here, you got a piece right here that sticks out. That's supposed to go in that hole over there. So that's what I forgot. And as you can see, if I play with the latch, it's connected directly to it. So that's actually my mistake. And I'm putting this right after the door lock section of this video so that people can see that, right? So let's try to get it in properly this time. I'm gonna try to wiggle the door handle to get it in that hole. So let's see how we could do that. Right there, that's the hole. So I'm gonna put that back in there. Try to get that little piece to connect to the door handle. All right, so upon a bit more investigation, okay, I noticed that this would not go far enough to go into this. Well, I just realized it's just meant to slide over it like this, and then from there you can actuate. So let's try that out. This is the old one, by the way, so I was able to just check it out with the handle I pulled out, and that's how it's supposed to go. So I haven't done one of these in a while, so my memory is very foggy, but we're gonna get through it together. Let me put one screw in just to hold it a little bit, and from there I can wiggle it. There we go. I think we got it. Yeah, I got it. There we go. So there we got it. Yeah. So now that's in. I can feel the handle grabbing. I'm going to show you guys a video of it working just so you guys can understand it. You see the black part there? That's where it needs to hook up to the latch itself, and now it is, which is great. So before we put the door panel back on, we're going to make sure this system is working. Next thing before we tighten the screws, I'm just going to put in this door rod back in its spot. The angle needs to go towards the inside of the door. There we go, that's in. Put the grommet back in place. There we go, and let's tighten up all the screws now. Not too tight, but they do need to be on there pretty good. And then we'll tighten this. These we know are in the right position. Just like that, those are tightened. All right, so I just fiddled with the latch itself. We should see a door closing right now. Should. And we should see a door opening. And it does. So we finally got this fixed properly. Let me get the door panel back on. And just like that, the second door is done. I would say with the magic of editing, but this was a bit trickier to align and get closed properly and sealing well. And yes, you see all this here. I'm siliconing this in as well. But you can see everything looks really good here. The wood is gorgeous. The window trim is in. And you can see here the only differences I'm going to say is of course less electrical connections on this door. And this here, when you take out the screw, it doesn't turn upwards, you actually turn it downwards to remove it. And that's pretty much it, honestly. Apart from that, the whole install is very similar. So yeah, that's on. Now we're gonna do a rear one. All right, now on to a rear panel. So these are very similar. There are some slight differences, but we're gonna get to that. So let's start first by popping out this plastic trim over here. You can go in down or upwards. From upwards is a bit easier, that's out. And then we're gonna pop out the T25 screw. By the way, I did decide to put the battery on charge, just since the doors are all open and everything. So yeah, I decided to put the battery on charge while I'm doing this, just so it doesn't die out. That's one option you could do. You could always leave the interior lights on if you have the battery plugged in, but I still have the interior lights off, so I just chose to do that. Next thing to take out is this. Right here, this little trim piece. Be very careful, these like to break. A little bug here too, take that out. These do like to break, so just be very careful and just gently pry it from the strongest part, wiggle it out. I am wincing a bit because I don't want to break this, so I'm going very carefully. no breakage, which is nice. So that's out now. So the next thing to do, we're going to undo the door panel from the actual door, and there's also a light here we gotta beware of. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So the rear door panels are in like much better shape than the front actually. So that's nice to report that. And that's all out, and the light even popped out for us, which is nice. And just like that, our door panel's out in like 2 minutes. So I'm going to take out the electrical connectors, one for the light here, just like that. That's out. You can see this completely broke off where it mounts. This is just old glue, right? That doesn't really hold anymore. Then we're going to pop out the window switch connector. Pop out the window switch like this. And it's easier to access the connector from here, like that. And now the whole door panel just comes right out. As long as I get the connector out of here, and there we go. Door panel comes out. As you can see, a lot of these pieces actually broke off the actual panel itself. So let's pop these out one by one. So here's our new door panel. This rubber scraper was supposed to stay with the old one, so we're going to go ahead and pop that off. That is very straightforward and easy to take off, but it is a tight fit in there, especially this one's probably been there since 1999. There we go, and that's out without a hitch. And let's get our new window switch, rather our original window switch in here. Let's go ahead and bring this up here, just like that. Pop the switch in. Drop the clip there. I will get that one afterwards. Let me get that rogue clip. Tried to get away. So let's put that clip in now. This one has intact clip, so it should just pop in. You do have to get this rod through. Door lock rod. There we go. That's already looking really fresh. Sorry about the glare, guys. It's a really sunny day today. Let's pop in the clips. And just like that, it's almost done. Let me get back in the car. And that's in. Beautiful. And all we gotta do now is get that final T25 in, and then put that little cover back on, and then we're totally done with this rear door panel. Sometimes you gotta wiggle the panel a little bit to line it up. There we go. Just a matter of tightening. That's tight enough. Let's get this guy back in as well. There we go. I had it the right way after all. So there we go. That's one of the rear panels done. And we're gonna do the other one off camera. But that's looking so nice. I mean, seriously nice, and it's so simple to do. Let's do the other side. All right, so all this is done. It's looking really good. I'm gonna just show you guys where I was struggling. This seal here on this door, it was actually pinched in, and the window actually grabbed this whole seal in there. So I tried a heat gun to save it, getting super frustrated yesterday. So I ended up actually just going to the old door from this car and removing the window motor, and this window kind of drops, and you could pull out the old seal out of the other door, and I replaced it in this door. So now everything's good. There's tons of tape on this door for some reason, but I'm gonna give the car a quick wash. All right, everyone, as you can see, everything's back on, looking incredible. These new door panels are really nice. The doors look good. There's a bit of tape residue on the passenger door that will be removed at some point. Doors all open and close nice. And this car is officially rust-free now, thanks to changing those two doors. So this car is looking incredible. And we're gonna now take it for a little road test, make sure everything is nice and quiet. All right, everyone, so excuse my scruffy appearance, but we're on day 2 of this whole saga with installing these 2 new front doors on this car and all 4 of these door panels. We had a little bit of hiccups with one of the window seals here on the passenger side, and we had a hiccup as well with the door lock on the passenger side as well. Now it's all done. Everything's installed. The car looks amazing. It definitely needs an interior clean, but it looks amazing. The door panels look really good. I'm really happy with the stitching. The way these came out look really good, and the wood on the panel is an extra nice touch that matches with the rest of the wooden interior, with the wooden steering wheel, wooden shift knob, wooden console parts. It just looks incredible. Honestly, the car does look really good. And so far, my first impressions of driving in this car now that the new doors are on, I don't hear any major rattles from the doors, nothing out of the ordinary for a P80 car, let's put it that way, but nothing that's new. And the seals seem to be doing their job. The car's very quiet, so that's good. The doors are properly adjusted. They open and close very smoothly and easily, and the locks all work on the front doors, so everything there is fantastic. And I'm really happy with how overall this car feels now with these new door panels. It definitely brought the car a bit more upmarket and a bit more freshened up. Now that it has these stitched door panels, I shouldn't expect any sagging of the material like the old ones, and this is also leather compared to the old panels, which were vinyl. On the regular S70s, V70s, you just got these vinyl panels, and while they do look pretty good, the feel is not the best, and they do sag and peel, and they do crack. The vinyl just kind of dries and cracks, whereas the leather is much more durable and much more premium feeling. Kind of goes along with the quality of the seats too. So all in all, it is very nice now, this car. I mean, it was nice before, now it's much nicer. So this is not going to be an introduction video to this car. That's going to come at a separate day. But right now, as I'm driving this car, it's nice and quiet. There's 0 leaks in the cabin. As you guys saw, I just washed the car, so I had water spraying all here and on the other door as well, and there's nothing coming through. The only things I got to do on this car now to make sure this door is perfect is there is some tape residue on the actual window and the door, so that's got to be scraped off and cleaned up, but I am going to get to that for sure. Whether I do it on or off camera, I'm not sure, but I will get that done because I want this to be perfect. And this is my girlfriend's car, so it's a car she actually wants to keep for a very long time. She's owned it for like 3 years, but we'll get into more of those details in the introduction video. For now though, I really thank you guys for watching. It was an adventure doing this job. I've never installed doors on my own. The last time I did a door on a car, I had help. So this time I did it all on my own, so it was something. And hopefully for those who don't have someone to necessarily help them at any given time during the day, this video will help. Using the jack definitely made a big difference. Using the jack made a big difference. Helped hold the door up, and I could kind of wiggle it on the plank of wood I had on the jack. It kind of helped make sure that I could do it properly without damaging the door, without damaging any of the hinges. Once everything was bolted up, you can kind of see how the door closes, adjust it as needed. This door needed a bit of adjustment. The right door needed a bit more adjustment, but obviously I did that all off camera. But once I got the right door adjusted, it was perfect. It looked very good, and this door adjusted much easier. But you just wiggle the door. If you see it closing like not really perfect and it kind of looks like this, let's say, or like this, you know you have to adjust it as much as you can and loosen those bolts out a little bit, and you can move around the door and make sure that when you tighten it, make sure it's in a different position, so that when you close it, you can once again check. There's no harm in doing that. That's how it's done. And the holes on the actual door latches, like where it bolts up to the body of the car, the hinges themselves, the holes are purposely larger so that you could play around the door. No two cars are the same, so it's always good to adjust. Like on this side here, I actually noticed while I was doing the right hand door, the fender was a little bit loose, and I've known that since the car was purchased, and the cage nut inside the body was actually loose, so I ended up trying to solidify that as much as possible, and in doing so I made the door rub against the fender, so I had to do a special adjustment, make sure the panels line up nice, and they did. So ultimately what it comes down to when installing doors or any body components, it may be a trunk or a hood, or just like I said, doors, front or rear doors, doesn't really matter. You got to make sure that there's always flushing techniques and there's always flushing procedures. I didn't necessarily look anything from Volvo online, but I just know from doing a door on an S70 in the past. On this car, actually, I changed the driver's door on this car once and it ended up rusting again. I don't think we had the best door because it probably had rust, I think, that we didn't see when we got the door. So these are actually rust free, which is great. And we ended up doing the door on this side too. Like I said, I'd help, and that's just from remembering how I did it last time, and it went really smoothly. So now everything's done. I'm super happy. My girlfriend's very happy with the whole job as well. So it was an adventure, and I'm really happy it's done. And honestly, it's not very difficult, but when you're on your own, it is a little trickier. But there, like I showed you in the video, there are ways to do it yourself that makes it a lot less painful. So overall, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And just to say, I was wearing a blue cap throughout the whole video. If you guys want one of those, just look up Saab Fans on Instagram, and they were actually the ones that provided me that cap really graciously. So I want to thank both of them for providing that cap for me, and I actually have been wearing it quite a bit, and it's a very comfortable cap with their logo printed on it. So if you guys do want one, reach out to them and they will try their best to hook you up for sure. So make sure that you guys stay tuned for anything in the future, by the way. And I hope you guys really did enjoy this video, and I certainly enjoyed making it, even though it was an adventure. But I like to be transparent and showing you guys the whole process and even the mistakes I've been making, and that's all with the fun, and there's nothing wrong with making mistakes here and there. That's how we all learn. So with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. Goodbye.